Hi, today we'll be going over another video in C#, so it's another tutorial. We'll be continuing from the last tutorial where we learned about formatting strings. So now we'll talk about using leading zeros and integer values. So you can use the D. So we didn't talk about it, but it's the D formatting string with integers to specify the minimum width for displaying the number. I believe you can also do this with perhaps there might be an F as well for a floating point value. Excuse me, so we have, let's just do an example. So remember, a leading zero is so I'll just get rid of this. If you're interested in that, it's in the last video in the playlist, C# playlist. Okay, so we have so a leading zero is for example, if we have, so let's do a few examples. We have a number like 24. The formatting string is D. Then we have that formatted, so that's just going to be formatted without a decimal. So if you can recall from before, actually I probably should have just kept that, so let's just keep that, some of that stuff that we just had. So before we had basically some of these, I guess because we have the number like this, it's gonna usually format them to 2 decimal places. If possible, there's usually 2 zeros. I believe that's the default that the C# docs mentioned. So if hopefully that's what I said last time. I believe so. If we just have just n, it should be, for example, here we have just n, then it should be to 2 decimal places, which is usually just 2 zeros. If there's no possible value at the end, then in this case, then we'll have a D. Let's have a number. So let's just have a number here. So let's say we have. So D is an integer format. And under here, we'll just do an example. So we have. So let's say we have the number 24. We said. So that's going to have a D formatting string. So then we'll have that will be formatted as just 24. So I believe D is a little bit different than these because it doesn't have a decimal. So these all have a decimal, whereas of course an integer doesn't have a decimal. So therefore, the default value for D is just the whole number. So that's why it's different than these ones here. Because these are for basically decimals. I guess they always format them to minus the percent. But I guess it might be like this. It's really, there's maybe perhaps a 0 there. You can double check that. If it's writing it like that, it's close but not necessarily similar, so we could just separate them like this. So I guess P will not necessarily always have a 2 default zeros. I believe I mentioned that last time. So just go back to the last video if you're interested in the exact information on, I've forgotten at this point. But I believe just these 4 are to 2 decimal places. P can be different. You can always just test them. You don't have to go back and see. You can just type it out and run the code and see if it does put everything to 2 decimal places at the end. I believe N and F do. E will be a little bit different, and C will probably format them to 2 places, so perhaps E could be moved to P, to the area of P. But you can always double check if you're confused. Just code it and see what the output is. It's not really that important, but it's a 1 mark on a test if you're looking to take a C# test, so just maybe make sure if you're going to take a test. So if we have the formatting string D, which is an integer format, so we said that in this case 24 has a formatting string D, then it's just going to be 24 because it's an int. And so we'll talk about leading zeros. So if we have the value again 24, formatting string is D4. That doesn't mean 4 zeros, sorry, D4, that doesn't mean 4 zeros, that means 4 digits in total, so therefore we'll have 2 leading zeros, 0024. So leading 0 is a 0 in front of the value to the left. So if we have 24, we want 4 digits, therefore we'll add 2 leading zeros, so hopefully that makes sense. So if we have a value like 1, then we'll have the formatting string, let's say we want D2. Notice how it's D2 and not 2D in other languages, for example like C, just normal C. They have it like this, 2D or 2F. But I guess in C# they switched it backwards. I'm not sure why they did that, but that's just Microsoft, so we have D2 instead. I believe I'm not one of the developers of the language, but since it's a C language, they probably should have just kept it the same. Because then it confuses everyone, but that's alright. So then this would be formatted as 01 because we want 2 digits. In this case we have 1, therefore we'll have to add 1 leading 0. Alright, so let's move on to the lab. In this case, I think I'll have to start a new solution here, so I'll just click File at the top, New Solution. I don't think you can see this, it's just the next Windows Form App 8. I'm using C# and .NET. I'm using 4.8, but I think I updated it to 7. I can update it to 7 just on this computer, I didn't. We'll just go with 4.8 for now, since it works. So I just created the solution, it's just loading. Give that a sec here. Apologize for that. It's Rider is much faster than Visual Studio, at least. This window here, it asks me what window I want, so I want this window. There's one thing you have to do, I think it's a glitch, but I'll show you guys. You have to click a button here that says update in the top right corner to get the designer view on. Oh, what did I do? I clicked something by accident. Hopefully it still works. If not, I'll just cut this off and I'll do the lab in the next one. It says that it's loading here. At least it doesn't like take time to load when you're actually writing the code, because I notice in Visual Studio it's like if you write a line of code it may freeze for like a second or two, but in Writer or any of the JetBrains software, anytime you write code, I never had that problem in my computers from 2016. I think it's like a 810. There's a lot of RAM though. There's quite a bit of RAM. I just haven't got a computer in a while. Still works, so I didn't need to update it. Okay, so we got this. We have the designer. So here in the top right corner, I don't think you can see this, but I'll click it. It says to rebuild and something. Click that. Then it'll set everything up. Because if you notice here, it says projects references are missing. So you have to click that rebuild. I think it says rebuild solution. Just click that. It should update everything. It's a little bit confusing though. If you don't know, you may have some problems with that. Apologize. You can always just fast forward this. Actually, it's okay. So it's ready now. Should be about ready. Okay, so we have our code here. Won't be needing that for now, so I'll just move that to the left. So we'll be set. I'm just going to make this window a bit bigger. That should be fine, so maybe a little bit bigger, just a little bit. Okay, so let's start dragging on some. This is going to be a currency formatting price calculator, just to practice the things that we talked about. Alright, so let's we're gonna have two text boxes, four labels and 2 buttons. So I'm just gonna click the systems.windows forms. So I'm gonna click the first text box. Just put it around there. We'll get the next one. Actually, whoops. Let's do that. Let's actually set the names here first. So we'll go with. So I have to click that tab there. Alphabetical, I think. So then here I'll double click text box. I'll go with original price text box, camel cased. Actually, I can't even see that, so let me just type that again. The text is so small. Okay, so then we'll go with auto size. Same as normal if you've seen my other tutorials, but we'll just go with auto size. Is there no auto size here? No, okay, so those are only for labels, I guess, and well, at least not for just text boxes. So we'll just increase the size of this to 36. Then we'll name the second one to discount percentage text box. Okay, so here we'll just change the size, same thing. And we'll add a label here. Actually, let's go with okay, doesn't really matter because we're not going to name the 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll just put the label down here then. We name sale price label. So we'll have to change auto size to true. That should be fine. So we have, let's just make that a bit bigger. No, okay, it's not going to work. So let's just go with that. That's fine. It should auto size. So then we'll have 2 buttons. I forgot the music today. Actually, that's okay. Not sure if you guys can always hear it. If you notice in my videos, sometimes I have, well, actually most of the time I have I have music in the background. I have a noise cancelling mic, but I turn it kind of loud, so usually can hear it, but I forgot today, so we'll just, if I have time, I'll try to turn some on. So we have the button. Okay, why is that so small? So I'll put a button here. Actually, just before that, I'll change the text here to, so I'm going to get the bounding box up on the label. I'll change the text here to just going to delete the text, actually. Actually, no, I'll click that and then I'll just put some spaces inside like that. That's fine. Oh, what happened there? Let's go with a border on that. Okay, so we got that to border fixed single. So now button 1 will go with calculate sale price, or just we'll just go with, we'll call it calculate button. Oh, okay, whoops. Double clicked it by accident. So we'll click the button identifier, and then we'll change it to calculate button. Then we'll change the size, or the font, to like something bigger. No, that's going to probably be too much because we're going to try to fit a bunch of words on there. Actually might have to go smaller then. So go to the text property of the button. I'll just say calculate. Okay, so then we'll go with, actually let's make that text just a bit bigger. I thought I was going to put some more words, but that's okay, no, too much. Calculate, okay, that fits. So we have, then we'll go with the next button here, so we'll just click on systems.windows.forms. Click the button, double click it, then in Visual Studio, if you notice, it just pops up to the top left corner. So I think the drag and drop is more sophisticated in Rider, because I noticed that when you click, then it appears. But for example, if you click on the button in the toolbox in Visual Studio, it just pops up in the top left corner, which can get stacked on something else and mess everything up. I'm surprised Microsoft did that, unless there's an option to change that. For new people using the software, it's kind of confusing because they might not know how to change it and all that. Perhaps they're new to developing and all that. These programs can be kind of complicated, especially the drag and drop ones. But that's okay. So we'll just change this to, so we'll change the text to basically the studios, like the oh yeah, so like more, this is if you guys have ever tried Android Studio, it's a little bit more sophisticated than this, but it's similar to this. They have the toolbox with the properties and all that. I think it's on the right side. JetBrains also made that. They're pretty advanced. JetBrains makes a lot of really good stuff. They're really coming up there. If you didn't know, they make Android's Visual Studio, and they're actually they created the language for Google, Kotlin. So they're pretty knowledgeable about their stuff. So we'll just change this button, the identifier, to exit. Actually, we should go with exit button. Then we'll change the font again to something. Is this auto size? Turn it to true. Okay, so I think I did maybe manually change the size, so we'll just go with that again. We'll change the font just a bit bigger. We'll go with, we'll change the text to exit or close. We'll just go with exit then. What happened there? So we'll go with exit. Alright, so we just have 3 more. Did we name that? Sale price label, yeah we did. Name, calculate button, exit button. Okay, so now we'll go with 3 more labels. So one there, we'll just name it. Original price label. We'll go with auto size to true. We'll go with the font to 36 or something. Nope, the 28. Okay, so we'll just put that right there. We'll change the text in this case to, actually I'm not sure if this is going to fit. We'll have to change the size. We'll have to downsize here. So we'll change the text to enter the item's original price. That should be fine. Then we'll go with the next label. I'll just put it there. We'll change the identifier to, did I change this one? Yeah, okay, this one. We'll change the identifier to disc percentage label. Discount, okay, sorry. Discount. D-I-C, sorry. D-I-S-C-O-U-N-T, discount, description. Label. And we'll go with the same as before. Enter the discount percentage, so that's what we'll put for the string here. Maybe I'll just go with the symbol. And the last one we'll just have the last label here, we'll just put it there. I'll change this to output description label. We'll go with auto size to false again. Sorry, to true. We'll go with auto size to true, and then here we'll change the font size. We'll just type in here sale price for the string. Sale price, like that. whatever you want, lowercase or not. So then we'll have, that should be all. That should be everything so far. So let's go on to the code. Sale price label. That's all fine. We could have put the text align to middle center, but that's okay. Sorry, I had a piece of rice stuck in my throat. I had casserole and rice for dinner, and I had just a piece of rice in there. It kind of tickled me and then made me cough. Alright, so let's excuse me, so let's now set up the event handlers. So we'll have the click event handlers for the button controls. So I think we already, well, I already did. So you can, if you're following along, you can double click the calculate button control. We should already have that. For me, well, I should already have that because I accidentally clicked it. Actually, you know what? I think we might have messed this up. I might have messed it up because I might have clicked it before I set anything up. So I might have to go into the other file and delete stuff. Why is it button 1 though? Excuse me. It shouldn't be button 1. Okay, let's just delete this. Then I'll double click it again. Nope, same thing. That's weird. Did not change the name. Calculate button. Does it do the C#? Just call it button 1. Yeah, I think there's a glitch here. That's not good. Okay, let me go to that other file. So I'm going to click the form1.cs. Then I'm going to click the form1.designer.cs. I'll look for somewhere. I'm going to click this Windows Form Designer generated code. Whoops. Okay, I'm going to look for button 1, anything that says button 1. Not seeing anything that says button 1. It might just be a glitch. If it is, that's not good because we have it called calculate button. This button 1 underscore click. Why is it called button 1? This one doesn't say. Okay, let's just go with it for now. If there's a problem, well, that's the problem with the drag and drop. It can get confused. But we'll be learning how to do all that manually after. So for now, we'll just go with button 1 underscore click. So I'll just comment this out. we're going to learn about exceptions in the next probably the next video actually. Yeah, this isn't correct. It's still not. Should be calculate button. Calculate button. Oh, still like that. Okay, that's fine. We'll just go with it for now. So if we have I'll have to go to the code. I have here on my notes, and then we'll just show you guys what I'm looking at. So we have okay, so we have the namespace, everything set up. What yours might be different. Just click new solution. Your namespace could be whatever. We don't need to change that right now. Partial class form. Just this method in the constructor. So here we'll just declare some local variables. So we'll have a decimal, original price, decimal original price var or val. That works. We'll have then here decimal discount percentage val. Decimal discount discount amount val. Then decimal sale price val. So then here we'll have original price val points to decimal dot parse. Whoops. So decimal dot parse, we'll pass in original price text box. Original price text box. That's correct. I think dot text. Yeah, I think that's this one here. So original price. Let's move this over here. Okay, so we're gonna pass this original price text box dot text as a decimal. We're gonna pass it. I'm gonna pass it as a decimal. Taking this parameter, passing it as a decimal, basically completely backwards. We're taking this, we're passing it as a decimal, and then we're going to, so that's going to get stored in original price val. So this data here on the right side of the equals sign is going to get stored in original price val. So now original price val points to this data here. Okay, so in the next one we'll go with whoops, was that glitching out here? Deluxe summon on my keyboard. Stuck. It's not letting me press anything here. There we go. Okay, what happened in there. So here we'll just go underneath here, original price val. Underneath we'll go with discount percentage val points to decimal dot parse. We'll pass in the string or the parameter, which is a string in this case. Discount. No, it's actually not a string though, my bad. It's going to be a string, but no, we're not going to format it as a string. Format it as a string. So we'll have, remember, because parse takes a string, so here we'll have discount percentage text box dot operator, then we'll call the text property, semicolon, new line, then here we'll go discount percentage val points to discount percentage val, so itself, divided by 100. Okay, then here we have just a few more. So then we'll have discount amount val points to original price val minus discount amount val. Then here, so yeah, that should actually, no, discount amount val points to original price val. No, I think I messed it up here, so I'll just change that. Apologize. Discount amount val points to original price val multiplied by discount percentage val. Then we'll say sales price or sale price val points to original price val minus discount amount val. We could have made that as a constant. Not sure if we learned about that. We'll be learning about that soon. The discount amount val. I think it's exactly, so a constant is just const, just means constant. You can have an int or whatever. So it makes it unchangeable, so if you try to change the value, the compiler throws an error or an exception. So it's a good way to keep data unchangeable if you need to. In Java you've seen the final modifier, you can have that as well. In Python you can basically just declare you can just declare a global keyword, and that will basically make it constant. But anyways, we will continue on here. So const is exactly like C, like the normal C programming language. So we'll talk about const in one of the next few videos. So here we'll have so we have sales or sale price val points to original price val minus discount amount val. And underneath we'll have sale price label dot text points to sale price val dot ToString, and we'll pass in a C. We just talked about that for the currency format. Then we'll click the exit, or get into the exit button. Event handler, we'll just say this dot close. So just this dot close like that. This is going to refer to the form. We'll talk about the this keyword later on as well, which will get a little bit more complicated, but we'll talk about it after. We still have a lot to talk about, like objects and all that. Soon we'll be going over conditional statements, so we still got a bunch of stuff to do. Tons of the language, kind of the building blocks and all that. So we're starting to learn some new stuff here. We have ToString, different types, decimal, int, strings. We have parse, the parse method in ToString, which are very important. So we're starting to get into C#, if you noticed from the start of the tutorials, kind of starting to dive into it. It's relatively similar to Java if you've been following the channel for a while. Originally started out with Java for the code. Unfortunately I missed the Java basics, but I have the data structures series. All the code's similar. But we do a lot of the basic stuff all the time. If you notice, all of the languages are very similar. They all have similarities, Python being the one that's the least similar out of all of them. But the rest are very similar, which is helpful. Alright, so that's pretty much it. We'll just continue on to, actually we'll just save it. Then I'll just run it. We might get an error with that. We probably will. It says succeeded, okay. So you can't see this, I'm just going to enter something random. I'll include this at the end. Got it, okay, so it did work. So if you guys enjoy the, so I guess at the end, after I say this, but actually no. Just getting used to this, okay, for GUIs. I'll have to include the GUI in a second here. For you guys, it'll just seem like a second. That's pretty much it. Just to go over what happened, we just worked everything in the private void method here. So it's a click event handler. It's going to handle the click of the button. We'll get into more of this stuff later on, but just know that it just means we're handling the click button. It's an event handler, which means that it handles something. So we have 4 local decimals. Decimal variables. We reference our text boxes that we created before using the designer. So later on we'll instantiate those objects ourselves once we get into objects and all that. So they're coming from here. The names are coming from the identifier that we chose here for the name. So we're referencing the text boxes here. I think I mentioned what was happening for this one. Basically, you should understand what happened here then. Earlier on I explained what it was happening, so then here we're just doing a math calculation. We're dividing by 100. Multiplying something, another math calculation, minusing or subtracting, then using a ToString and formatting it as a currency. If you've been watching the tutorials, all that information is in the previous videos in this playlist. So thanks for watching, guys. In a second I'll show you guys the GUI.